Hi, and welcome to another video of the Target Individual Program. So I'm going to put you guys up on something here, and I was watching a video on from Angela Yee. She is a one of the morning show co-hosts on the Breakfast Club. And here's a clip, and I'm only going to play part of this clip, and I want you guys to watch what the technology does to people. But many people are not going to get it. They're not going to understand because, again, they don't know. I, being a TI and being exposed to these types of microwave and radio frequency, understand what it is that they can do, and also doing the research and understanding what they can do. So I'm going to play this clip. Okay, I'm going to play this clip as Charlemagne explains a situation that was going on with a former NBA player named as Kwame Brown. Now, in my targeting, brown is one of the colors that they use to target me, which they have preconditioned me using neurolinguistic programming, so that the colors like the color brown, the color green, yellow, red, purple, what else? White, the color white also, right? The color blue, okay, which have been the negative association or connotation with those colors, or some of those colors, has been instilled within my psyche, right? Again, through the use of neurolinguistic programming, and those colors act as triggers, right? Either be to an emotional response or a thought pattern, or associated with something. Like, for example, the color green is associated with money. The color blue is associated with sadness, right? For example, people say, well, I'm feeling very blue today, meaning that they're feeling very sad, right? Red associated with anger, and so this is something that they would do. Purple is associated with royalty. In terms of my targeting, it's like trying to say you're from sort of royal bloodline, some African royal bloodline, right? Hence, I remember one of my family members, I believe, I don't know if it was an uncle or what have you, was telling me that. He was like, well, Malcolm X's mother, she's Grenadian, and we're somehow related to her in some way, right? So I want you to look at this clip, right? And I'm going to pause it.
Y'all know Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Those are my partners. You can catch All the Smoke podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network. I was texting with Matt last night, but let me tell y'all something. Leave Kwame Brown alone. I don't know if y'all know, but you can do a little research. Kwame Brown was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I don't think I've ever met Kwame, but I know a lot of his family. His family lived in Moss Corner, South Carolina. His father's name was Willie Brown. I don't know how many kids Willie Brown had. I don't know how many.
Let me go back a little bit. Now look at Angela. Okay. Let's go back here. All right.
For life, because he got caught because he left South Carolina after the murder and came back for his paycheck. Let me tell you something else. His other brother, I don't know if him and Kwame to confirm the whole story, because I literally forgot about this until yesterday, but the woman died. Kid Willie Brown had, I don't know how many siblings Kwame Brown got, but I went to school with his sister, and I went to school with one of his brothers. Let me tell y'all something. Kwame's father in the 90s, I remember this story. He beat a woman with an axe handle. It was his girlfriend. And the rumor was he buried her on the Black Effect iHeart. 25 with the Lakers. Since you came in the league for not living up to expectations. Paycheck. Let me tell you something else. His other brother, with his sister, and I went to school. Let me say something, man. I need a second, man. First of all, y'all know Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Those are my partners. You can catch All the Smoke podcast on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network. I was texting with Matt last night, but let me tell y'all something. Leave Kwame Brown alone. I don't know if y'all know, but you can do a little research. Kwame Brown was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I don't think I've ever met Kwame, but I know a lot of his family. His family lived in Moss Corner, South Carolina. His father's name was Willie Brown.
Now look, I have to pause this. Look at Angela, right? And it would seem as if she would pass out, okay? Because she has her eyes closed. And
I don't know how many kids Willie Brown.
You see what happened here? She has her eyes closed. Let me go back. Sorry.
Last night, but let me tell y'all something. Leave Kwame Brown alone. I don't know if y'all know, but you can do a little research. Kwame Brown was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I don't think I've ever met Kwame, but I know a lot of his family. His family lived in Moss Corner, South Carolina. His father's name was Willie Brown. I don't know how many kids Willie Brown had. I don't know how many siblings. And I went to school with one of his brothers. But I went to school with his sister. You can catch all the Smoke podcasts on the Black Effect iHeartRadio podcast network. I was texting with Matt last night, but let me tell y'all something. Leave Kwame Brown alone. I don't know if y'all know, but you can do a little research. Kwame Brown was born in Charleston, South Carolina. I don't think I've ever met Kwame, but I know a lot of his family. His family lived in Moss Corner, South Carolina. His father's name was Willie Brown. I don't know how many.
Now look at Angela again. Literally, it's like she is falling down. Okay? And so, one of the things that they have developed is this weapon that can put people to sleep almost instantaneously. Right? And literally, as for whatever reason, the camera, right, switched to her. Now this is Charlemagne that's explaining this, and the camera should switch to her. And as soon as it switched to her, she basically, it seems like she just passed
kids
out.
Willie Brown had. I don't know how many.
And so when I realized that, I said, "Oh shoot, I got to do a video on this." Now immediately when I realized that, I get a phone call. Okay, so let me go to my voicemail so I can show you guys, right? Because you know, again, you guys need to understand what's going on here. Okay, no, let's do that. They want to do that. Let's go. Let's go. Okay, so again, I received a phone call from, from this number. It's a 347, as you guys can see right here. So you can see here, I got a call this morning at 11:25 a.m. Another one at 11:30. And then again, as I was looking at this video and I realized and recognized what happened, immediately after I realized it, and I said to in my mind, "Oh shoot, you know, I think this is how they manipulate people and do stuff like that." You know, we've all heard stories of news reporters all of a sudden bumbling their words and speaking gibberish for whatever reason, right? Again, because they use these technologies so that people like me who understand and know what's going on, to show what they can do with this technology, right? And their belief is that because we're labeled as being crazy, what have you, because we're exposing what's going on, that no one would listen. Okay, so let's go. I'm gonna play the message again from earlier, and I'm gonna play the message that they left tonight, because I've talked about this. I say, remember how they well, I'm gonna let it speak for itself. Okay, you guys gotta watch this. All right, so again, this is from earlier today when they left the message at 11:30. Okay, and all right, and then just now, okay, I would say about 15 minutes ago, almost about 15 minutes ago, now this is a message that they have been playing aside for me to hear for the past, you know, I would say the past month. Okay, and you know, I keep saying that, you know, this is from the Hunger Games. I've done many videos on this to talk about how they would play that song, and you know, as well as other frequencies that I hear, right? And one of the things I always tell people to do is, if you read the reports on the American diplomats in China and Cuba and how they were using these technologies on them and what it has done to them, and the fact that they were hearing certain sounds or noise, and the FBI said that it was crickets. It's not crickets. This is not crickets. I'm telling you guys. I'm showing you guys this, and it's because they have the public fooled, and because again they can always use the label, right, of mental illness, because again we're talking about the U.S. government here. The psychiatric institution are part of the U.S. Institutions, right, as well as the prison system, but of course now we have the private prison industry. And so what they are doing is they are using this technology to create mental harm, psychological and neurological harm to individuals. And again, this is feeding the industry. This is feeding the psychiatric industry as well as the pharmaceutical industry and the creation of so-called psychiatric drugs. Right. So again, I look at this from just not as a targeted person, but from the economic standpoint, because I know what white supremacy really is and what it is about. And it's a system based on economic and control. Right. So understand this. This is why we as black people will never have economic equality in this country. It's not going to happen. This is why you see the wealth gap is completely widening. It's more and more it is widening. Okay? And this is why the immigration policy is to let more of other groups in this country instead of African people, which is understandable. You know, this is a white supremacist country, has a white supremacist system installed. So, you know, that's it. And this is why in the year 2030 or 2035, black people will be the fourth most populous population in the United States. And what's that going to do is that's going to erase or take away our political votes, right? I should say our political, what little political advantage of power that we have, right? Because now candidates will no longer pander to black people; they will pander to others, the Hispanic, the Asians, because again, they will be the number 2 and 3, right? So this is something that we have to understand, and which we don't. So let me play this video again. Not video. Let me play this voicemail again so you guys can hear. Okay, let's do it again. Right. So again, you know, many people don't want to believe, even though I show these things all the time. I expose these things in a way that needs to be exposed. And I understand people are afraid, and this is frightening. When I started going through this, I didn't understand what was happening to me. Okay, like I said, when I was eating at a restaurant with a friend, and I came outside, you know, there was a police vehicle that made a U-turn, and they stopped in front of me. One of the officers, both of them was white. One of the officers on the passenger side ran on the window, and he started singing out loud the song that I was singing prior, early in the night at work. You know, I was just singing this in my head. I didn't even, you know, I wasn't singing out loud or anything like that, right? But I was having dinner with a friend, and you know, my friend looked at me, and it was like her eyes teared up, and you know, I was shocked and frightened at the same time. So I didn't release. I just walked her to the train station, to her to give me a call when she just wanted to let me know she got home safe, because she lived in the Bronx and I had to go over to Brooklyn, right? And it was pretty early. It wasn't late. Or else I would have, you know, traveled to the Bronx and take her home, and then travel all the way back home, because I've done it plenty of times. You know, that's how I was raised. You know, to be, you know, that type of person. So, you know, when I got home, and she never called me. You know, she never called me, and I was so shocked at what happened earlier. I didn't even call her, and then that was it. That was the last time we spoke. Okay, so again, like I said, I know what these technologies do, what it does, how they're using it, particularly in my targeting and what I've been going through. And so people really need to understand this. So when you see videos of stuff like this is happening, it is not by incident, I should not by coincidence. It is perpetrated and planned, right? And then it happens so fast that it basically bypass people cognitive reality. They don't pay attention, right? They don't quite understand what's going on. And you see, as I'm explaining this right now, I can hear the sirens going on. Also, when I realized what was happening, there was police sirens going on outside. So again, this is, white supremacists early during the day as I went out to do some grocery shopping. As I walked to the end of my block, it was two police vehicles driving by. One actually slowed down and made a turn onto my block, right? So, so there you go. But because people have been deceived, that because people are being used in a certain way, they don't quite understand. They're thinking that, okay, this is, he must have done something wrong, right? I mean, but that's not the point. The point is that, these technologies are used to manipulate us in various ways, as well as not just the technology, but also psychological conditioning that they do to us on a daily basis. How many of you understand and know that there are people out there walking the street, right, basically manipulating us using dark NLP as black people, right? We as black people, white people who have spent years and years going to these NLP seminars, these hypnosis seminars, and learning how to do these things, right? Do you think they have any good intention when they interact with us? When we eat at certain restaurants, do you know that they poison our food, they drug our food just enough so that it can alter our consciousness, it can alter our behavior negatively? We don't even quite understand this, right? We thinking that, okay, we eat in some nice fancy white restaurant and what have you, and such, and it's okay. But no, they have, and I'm sorry if, to sound paranoid, but it's the truth. It is the truth, and it's the reality that we as black people don't want to accept, because we have been conditioned to run to eat at these fancy restaurants because they're white owned and such, and meanwhile we overlook our black owned restaurants, or we don't patronize them enough to where they can grow, right, and they can have and create a restaurant with safe space for us so that our food are not poisoned, right? We don't even get that concept and understand this. So sorry for the rant, but I just gotta speak on this thing because we are so brainwashed to the point where we're ass backwards as a people. We argue about the littlest trivial things. Okay, they pit us against each other, right? We are so far removed from one another, black men from black men, and black women from black women, and also black men from black women, and black women from black men. We tell each other nonsense because we've been conditioned with this narcissistic behavior, this individualism type of behavior, that we're ruining each other's friendship, family, relationships, right? And then when we're in our 50s and 60s and we're old and we're alone, then we want to get angry, and then we pass on those same bitterness and anger to the younger generations. We don't teach them nothing. We don't teach them anything at all. I keep saying all the time, get rid of this bullshit religion. Get rid of it. Go back to your African spirituality. Go back to the Kemetic belief system, right, which focuses more on self-healing and raising your consciousness to a point where you're an asset not just to yourself but to the people around you, to your community, and to your people. Okay, this is what we need to do, but it is a hard battle because again they have developed what is called silent weapons for quiet wars, which is something we as black people in this country have no idea about because we don't study enough about technology. We don't push our kids to get into the technological field. Okay, it's either we do all this other stuff, sports, lawyer, doctor, all this other stuff. But what about computer engineer? I had to go back to school to learn computer engineering, right? And I'm still in school, right? I took a semester off, but I'm going back next semester to finish up my degree, right? Computer engineering. I tried to push my son to go into computer science, you know, but his mother had different ideas and told him to go into accounting. This is what's killing us. The fact that there's not enough of us who are in the technological sector, right? So we don't, when they create these things, we're oblivious. We are totally oblivious to the technology at hand. Okay, so that's all I wanted to say. But I just saw this video and I was like, yo, I gotta expose this because many of you don't want to believe me, but that's okay. That is okay. But I know you can go on my Facebook page and you can see the documentation that I've posted from the CIA website. You see documentation from the FBI website through the Freedom of Information Act about paying people in your community to be civilian spies, right? To be agents, right? Even using children, paying them through their parents, right? To be agents. Okay, it's the same within the religious institution, right? Because they're so keen on holding on to that false belief system because for one, they benefit those at the top, particularly also pastors and priests. They benefit from the economics of religion, but we don't. But the majority of us don't get that, don't understand that. It's about, just as how white supremacy is about economics and control, it's the same as religion. They're one and the same. Okay, we have to wake up. We have to wake up, right? Because not only it could be you or somebody else somebody you love that this could happen to, you know. So you really got to think. Really have to think. Be smart. Open up your mind.